You're seeing the story. Right?
Oh, yeah, the story, the movie, the stories that we make up about ourselves, about others, that for me, since I've seen you and talked to you, it's just really, it's just being in a peaceful place to be able to perceive things so differently, just so differently.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, I mean, like little annoyances, like stuff that used to bother me. I'm going to use my most recent example with my son, because he's often been my trigger, my biggest trigger, because I worry about him. He suffers, I think I told you, without the story, he suffers profoundly from post-traumatic stress. He had a near-death experience, was almost stabbed to death. He survived, and so I've been dealing with a lot of stuff. And one of the things that most recently that came up was where he lives. It is legalized to be growing marijuana. You can have a certain amount of plants.
Right.
Okay. But when I went to visit him, without getting into counting the plants, it seemed like he had more plants than he should. Now, this was niggling at my mind. This was playing in my mind, and I was very observant that it was there. And I started to I just kind of watched how I created a story. Now the police are coming to get him. They're going to throw him into jail. The 2 children that he's now parenting, my grandchildren, are going to grow up without a father. He's going to get beaten up in jail. Oh, Cindy.
Saw the whole thing, eh?
And I thought to myself in a split second, you were in that second. It was like, there is such an understanding and an awareness of that happening so quickly now. Whereas in the past, Cindy, that story would have gone on and probably played out for weeks, if not months.
And you probably would have acted upon that fear.
Absolutely. And it took one little phone call. I said, let me just be clear. Now, I just want to go over this with you just so I can have my mind needs to be at ease. And I think yours will be too. But just explain things to me. And of course he did. And it was like, I had created, he was in jail, Cindy.
Yeah. And you know, regardless of what he would have said to you, regardless of whether or not there were more plants, maybe let's say there were more plants than there should be. The fact and the reality remains is the whole story is not happening.
Yeah.
It's unreal. It did not happen, you know,
But I created it.
In reality, but yeah, you get afraid. You're not afraid of reality. You're afraid of the story.
Ah, yes. Yeah.